nature is violent. So many acts, even the simple act of us eating is super violent. There is killing involved. There is ripping, there is cutting, there's knives, there's chewing, there's blood. There's violence in the act of love as well. In the way, almost a baby arrives, like there's ripping and tears. I feel that who told us that this life does not involve this thing, like the words we label as cruel.
Are we one? Are we infinite? Are we temporary?
Our guest tonight is an extraordinary chef who breathes love into all her creations. A true culinary artist. I present Yasmina Ksikes.
Woohoo!
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. What a sweet introduction. Thank you.
Well, it's true. I mean, I've tasted your incredible creations, and not only that they taste good, but the story behind them and what it means to you. I mean, you really are an artist with food. So tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I feel that in this chapter of life, which has been quite a long one, the way food is for me is a language, is a real simple language that helps me communicate how I feel about people. And so I often find myself thinking about the receivers and who they are. I get excited about that. The art part, I feel, is something I don't control at all. It's the ingredients that control that often. I get guided by the ingredient and what we get. So I feel that that's just something that passes through, with this magical thing that is called nature, that we play with our hand, just like, painters with brushes, music, music notes. We get ingredients, we get spices. It's awesome. I love it.
Amazing. So when you say that, like, in terms of like you play with what you've got basically, or does that mean, like, let's say if you have a set recipe and you have an ingredient and the ingredients like taste different than you expected, would you improvise or do something different?
Yeah. And this is what, often I tell people, and especially when I'm conveying recipes in cooking classes, is the recipe is a lovely guideline, because things, no matter where you are in the world, are going to taste different. The water is different. The stove you use, the fire source you're using, if you're cooking these ingredients, is going to be a bit different. So yes, you will need to always improvise. And I think that's really magnificent about cooking, because you can really fine tune it to where your palate wants it to be. You can remember it because of our memory, of our taste memory remembers the flavors, and then we can guide it through lower heat, high heat, different spices, or playing with oils and things like that. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's kind of like the art part of it, I imagine. Okay, so but it has meaning for you, what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about that, because I get asked often, how long have you been cooking? When was the first time you wanted to do this? And for me, is as far as my memory can go, 3, 4, 5, when the meaning with food was this discovery at all times, and this quick access to an incredible gift, which is the gift of taste. And the meaning shifts based on the scenarios. And I found through the different years while I've been cooking, because at 6, I remember I really spoke it, and I said, I want to be a chef, a fashion designer, and a dancer. And sure enough, that's what I ended up doing. Food continually kept bringing me home and also provided living for me. And the meaning was this connection to the people, because also there was this relationship of spending time sourcing, then coming home or in the kitchen, creating, thinking, or dreaming about the meal, and then completely releasing it. There is zero attachment to that art that was created. And I always thought that was the most beautiful, selfless, sweet and pure way to connect to art and to people and to life, with not holding on to anything. So that's the meaning that it held for me. Often it's this release, and then you taste. It's great. You either love it, you don't love it, and then you let go and start over.
Wow, that's really interesting. Because, okay, the thing is, like, well, okay, I'm not going to ask you how long you've been cooking, but I'm going to ask you how long you've had that mindset about it.
What I just told you about it?
Yeah.
I think the last 10 years, when I really devoted myself to cooking full time in my career. Because before, 13 years ago, okay, not 10. It's already 2026. So yeah, 13 years ago, I devoted my life to cooking in the way that I've been doing it. And I committed to making that my full-time career. So the conversation started with myself when I go to bed, whether it was an exhausting 15-hour day, whether it was a fun thing, fun event, whether it was cooking for my friends or children. And I found that the drive, the excitement and the anticipation to create a meal started coming from that sense of sharing. It's like love flows. It will always flow if you release it so freely and easily and not want to hold on, because who makes a meal to hold on to it? Like you really work and pour all yourself in that creation to really give it. It's so beautiful. And that something that I knew about myself anyway as a person, whether it was through loving people and not feeling like I don't own my children. There's no sense of that translated into my philosophy of life. So I felt very aligned with the job that I picked for myself, because that's how I live anyway.
That's what I was going to say is interesting about it, because, to go through a whole career with this sort of ephemeral, like it's here and then it's gone. And I was just wondering, like, how that relates to the state of mind outside of that, like,
I'm ignited. It's an endless source of creativity. It's like you have all these notes to create with, and it's limitless, and for me, the love and the passion I have for cooking, for nourishing, is truly limitless. The less I hold, the more I have. If that makes any sense. There is this fantastic abundance in the creative process for me in cooking. And just earlier I was like working on a menu to send for an event, and I held myself because I repeated something I've created a few months ago, and I said, "What are you doing? Like, stop, think for a second." It's so easy to write things that I've done so many times, but then I also have to catch myself and be like, "Stop, close your eyes. What is the flavor you want? Actually, what is that dressing gonna be? You're not gonna do that one. So let go." And I asked God to give me an idea, and I started tasting different things. And I'm like, the beet will not be the main ingredient, but we want beet in there. Boom, we're going to make a beet dressing. We're going to reverse the salad. Instead of the beet being a part that you're going to chew, it's going to be in the other version. And I loved that symphony in my head. It was fun. And I was like, yes, that's what I want. And I thanked, the divine for that.
So explain about that. So, like, what is the relationship with God, with the divine when you're cooking?
I'm in love with God. Truly, I'm in love with this incredible force that I feel is gifting me and us. I think the more we ask the divine, the more it shows up. In a way, the more we believe there is a divine, the more the divine wants to share. It's like the same desire of any artist to want to have things to share with the audience, with the people. And this block sometimes in creativity, and it's like, God, I can't create. I'm stuck somewhere. But I think as soon as you surrender and be like, no, you know what? God's got it. Like, I don't have it. Actually, I don't. But I'm going to solicit the help of the greater power. And that's what it's been showing up for years.
Wow.
For years for me. It's endless through all moments of my life. And when I get stuck, I actually have learned to enjoy it because I get stuck very little. Before the faucet of things start to pour in my head. Sometimes it's a lot.
Wow. So wait, let me rephrase because the way you said it. So God is like a great artist in your mind.
Yes, the greatest.
Right? The greatest.
Yes.
And he, she, or it, or they is basically kind of like any other artist, looking for fans, looking for followers, right? And if you're like nice to God and you're like, I love your work, God, and God's like, oh my God, I got another great fan.
Yeah.
Just the same way that any of us are. Is that it?
That's it. And it's like exactly. It's exactly that, because that is the code to crack, is to actually ask, because we don't hold it. I mean, we're small bodies compared in this planet. How can we hold endless amounts of creativity? So to me, I feel like it comes that way. But how he feels so honored to like, all right, I'm sharing. Here you go. Take this. Take some beats. I'll do this with that. Here's some flavors. Play.
Does God have an ego?
No.
That's different to regular artists.
Oh, yes, sure. Well, it's the greatest artist, and I think
nothing left to prove.
I mean, I feel like I have nothing to prove. I really do. Like now, in this time, I'm gonna be 50 soon, and I'm so excited because I'm so curious about what that feels like. But the more I approach half a century, the more I really feel detached from the desire to prove anything. I just want to be me, and I want to be as flawful as can be, and share that authentically, but also with a really high desire and commitment to excellence.
Well, you want to be as flawful as possible.
Yes.
With
I want to be
excellence
at it. I want to be excellent at flawfulness.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, beauty is in the flaw, I think.
I mean, and what is beauty? It's like, sometimes you look at something and you find it full of, defaults, but yet it's extraordinary in a way, and I think that's how I feel about things personally. I get really bored when things are completely like everything is I lose the sense of perfect. I don't know what that means. Perfect is imperfect. Flawful and flawless is the same too. It's the relationship we have with it. I think it's so personal. Everyone's got that sense of detail they're looking for. I have my own sense of detail in my own way, and a lot of people that know me wouldn't, when they see me at work, they wouldn't think that I am that way because I'm such a hippie somehow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to circle back to something you said about because when you were talking about the sort of like the here today, gone tomorrow nature of it, you mentioned your kids in that sentence too.
Yeah.
So, as a life philosophy, this is something how you view life.
Absolutely. And your question is?
Well, it's just, I think that's amazing. But to have that degree of unattachment is something that like Buddhists working on for their entire life. But it comes sort of natural to you is my question.
Well, yeah, I think life had taught me that way as well, because I was the opposite when I was younger. I was not like that when I was in my, early childhood and teens. I aspired to that, but I wasn't like that. I attached a lot to the emotion, to connections, to the people. I didn't really accept easily the ending of stories. It was hard for me to accept an ending, but life taught me in the greatest way, and God had really showed me through different things that I have lived through in this life that everything will end. It's up to you how you want that story to be with the ending. Do you release it with grace, or do you hold on to it with tightness? And I found that the more graceful you release, the more almost you shed tears, but these tears are part of the release. They're so beautiful. To not really use them in a way that is like, no, I don't want, yes, go, but with that go, there's a river that flows, and sometimes it comes with a little touch of sadness, or it comes with a little nostalgia, and that's fine, and that's a beautiful spice to use, so I learned to use these things. And yes, I will use lots of food metaphors in life for sure, for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Are you able to fully put yourself into an experience and let yourself get caught up in the excitement and all the fun things that come with attachment while it's happening, without letting your wisdom of that, okay, this is going to end one day or one moment, without letting that dampen the fun in the moment?
Sure. Yes, I mean, absolutely. I think that's become a second nature because I enjoy the present so much. I am a present lover. I am deeply immersed in the emotion of the now, and by doing that, I find incredible peace, that comes with that. And I am fully acceptant. I don't think so much about the ending because the ending will happen outside of me. I have no control of that. So by being deeply present, being in flow when I create, when I'm loving, when I'm in conversation, that I don't know what happens after that. That comes, but I'm so ready because I've watered the now so well that the fruit will come and fall off the tree, and that's going to be delicious. So the departure will also be that way.
Wow, that's so beautiful, so impressive. I would imagine that it's hard enough to accept the original point that everything is going to come to an end at one point. But then on top of that, to hold that in one hand and then in the other hand say, I'm still going to enjoy every moment without worrying about that moment that's going to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that is some incredible work you've done to get to the point where you feel that naturally and it's like real. And I know it's real with you, because I know you and I know that that's your vibe, but it's like, I just think it's so incredible to be able to arrive there,
I feel that food really will do that, but also I think music will do that because you don't listen to a song thinking about that it's going to end. You have the anticipation. We're all about building anticipation to the arrival of the moment when it culminates, like you bite into an apple. Do you buy an apple thinking of the end of it? No, and that moment is amazing. And the apple is going to be done. But I think that's the most natural of thing. I think that is our natural default. The other part is something that we have learned somehow through whatever it is. But we are meant to welcome and release just like nature does with seasons and, how trees fruit and how trees become bare. It's around us at all times. There are endings, but in endings, there is no end because there is a cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
I
does.
think as soon as we understand that it's a cycle, that it's a total circle, it does the circle and keeps doing. So you feel so joyed because you can't wait for the circle to come back again. And you get another apple and you listen to the other song.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's cool.
It's so fun. This thing called life is incredibly fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful reflection on it. Well, do you ever, do you have a practice or do you have like a regular, like a meditation or something that enables you to maintain this state of mind without like ever having moments of like doubt in this philosophy?
I mean, the ritual is a choice, and I think the more we speak to ourselves that I'm making a choice to live this way. I make a choice every day to live the way I live, to not allow the mundane or the issues or the problems to come and dampen my spirit. I have been gifted a lot of sun as a child, and that sun shows up telling me to make a choice to be sunny. Because, I mean, the sun only knows how to be a sun.
Wow.
And I am that in my heart. I really am. And so that becomes the brightness. It's the light we turn on, because that's all you need for the dark to go is a little sun, Poof. I wake up and the sun's there. I don't know what happens at night, The dreams. It's a different story.
Oh, yeah? Tell me about that.
I mean, I have a very vivid life at night. I dream every night, and I remember my dreams almost every night. And I remember far dreams. And that's a whole conversation that I realize I have no control over, but I can curate what I think about towards the end of my day so I know what the night will show up as. And then you have the premonitions.
Whoa.
That are really fierce. And those conversations that take place, that stay with me for a long time. And that is something that I feel also God's is doing. I have zero control of that because, we'll be amazed what shows up sometimes. It's like, I don't know this face. I have no clue who this person is. I've not seen them ever. But here they are in my dream.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Do you remember all these dreams?
Yeah, 99% of the time I remember. And I also write them. I have a dream journal. I've kept a dream journal since I was 11.
And do you make sense of them?
Yeah, I make sense based on how I wake up. So if I wake up feeling anything, if there is anxiety, if there is freedom, if there is lightness or heaviness or tightness, I'll understand what that means. I think the meaning becomes part of that, and then I'll take a moment. My mornings are so special. I have a really beautiful moment, like routine, that allows me to move into my day. I take the time to write, to think about what took place in the evening. I'm not sure if I dream during the day or if it's the night. I'm like my life sometimes in between. Am I dreaming? Is this a dream? Maybe that is. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I do.
Because when I go to bed, I'm like, is that my life now? Do I take place in this dimension? So I feel like I might be dreaming right now too. So I'll write about that.
I mean, do you think that, I think that we exist in multiple dimensions all the time.
Yeah.
But our brain can only focus on one moment at a time. So it's stringing together like a narrative.
Sure.
Based on like the things that it can focus on.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that other things are not happening just because the focus is narrowed to that thing, right?
Right.
And I think when we're dreaming, it's when we're processing the other things that were going on that our brain wasn't focusing on, but somehow captured some of it.
I love that. Yeah. That makes complete sense, what you're saying. Yes. I think so too. Absolutely. I think, yeah, it's picking up on so many things, but yet our awareness becomes just in this. Like I'm only talking to you right now. I can't think about anything else.
Right.
But the brain is picking up on so many different nuances of things and what it went through in the journey to get here.
Right. But
Yeah.
also like well, for sure that.
Yeah.
For sure that. But I meant like even more trippy, kind of like even more David Lynch.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I feel like it's quite possible that, let's say you walked into my door,
Yeah.
but you could have decided not to walk in my door and just gone, fuck this podcast, I'm going to do something else tonight, you know?
Sure.
And it's possible that you did both, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, I like
But-
that. Okay.
But
Yeah.
but your brain is only focused on one
Action,
incident.
like one. Yeah. Yeah.
It's only recording one as the thing.
Okay.
But like multiple things could have been
My brain went to, I mean, I was walking up the street. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. That to me, that is such a wonderful thing about life, the ungraspable, but yet we can live it in a different way, but also acknowledge that it's taken place
Yeah.
and what happens then.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm also really fascinated by dreams because I really wonder, like, what. I've had the same thought that you've had, that it can't just be some fantasy.
Right.
It must be some processing of something that happened that we just like is outside of our awareness, as you say.
Like
right?
a subconscious.
Yeah.
It's a deep subconscious that just start to show up and speak.
Right.
And that's fun to see what that part holds. And dreams is a way for it to be, we call them dreams. That's what we choose to call that state.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also thought a lot to myself that even when you're not sleeping, we have the capacity for visualization and perception of things outside of the physical things we can see with our eyes.
Yeah.
And I think it's no accident that of all the five senses that we have, vision is the only one that we can actually turn off. We have an on and off switch, and I don't think that's an accident. I think that's by design, because when you close your eyes, you're able to actually see something else.
Right. You see. You still see.
You still see.
Yes.
I mean, you see more in some way.
Yeah. I mean, in Arabic, even the name blind, it's called basir, which means the one that sees.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Al-basir doesn't see. You're blind. I mean, your eyes don't function,
Right.
but you're the seer.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, you see so much so differently. And that's so awesome to tap into that world of closing your eyes. You everything is so much more sharp. I mean, when you taste something, just when you think every good moment you live, you close your eyes to enjoy it, Pleasure or an emotion is lived better when your eyes are closed.
Kind of is. But, I think that's also... Well, this is an interesting topic, actually.
Sure. Are you surprised, the two of us talking?
Yeah, because I often wonder whether, like, sensuality is like a distraction or actually like a devotion, like
Sensuality.
Yeah, because like, I'll give you an example, right? Because I think I told you this before. I don't eat sugar, right?
Yep.
But I don't know if I told you this, but like sometimes if I eat like something like celery stick, I can taste the sugar in it,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like someone who eats sugar can't, because
Correct.
celery feels like devoid.
Yeah.
It feels like a savory thing, right? But to me, it's a sweet. And, or like even things like jicama or, those kind of things that people don't think of as sweet things, or even a radish. For me, I can taste the sugar in it.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, right? Like someone who indulges in sugar, right? Are they abusing their body?
Are you depleting yourself from the ability to sense something?
Right.
Yeah, that is
Exactly.
existent. Are you dulling your senses?
That's exactly. right? But then the only way to not dull your senses is not to indulge in your senses.
Correct. Excess. Anything excessive will dull. It will give you a very quick pleasure moment, but ultimately it'll dull. It'll dull your senses over time. Usage.
Right.
You know, like many things. Many things in this life function that way, I believe. You know?
Yeah.
Our senses particularly. If you listen to loud music a lot, like you're not going to hear well. You just eat a lot, you know?
Well, okay, going back to food, how does that work for you? Because obviously, because obviously, you know, if you create a dish that is so full of flavor, it just hits, like obviously that's going to hit faster, right? If you create something that's more bland, right, it's not going to have the same reaction from the person who's eating it.
Yeah.
But it might have even as much pleasure, but over a longer period of time, let's say. You know, like maybe like the full pleasure doesn't come in the first mouthful, but it comes at the end of the meal. Like, let's say, you know what I mean?
From one dish, you mean? Or from a whole menu?
Well, even from one dish.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, like, again, like I haven't always been off sugar. Like I'm actually like a alcoholic with sugar, you know? Like I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm
sugarholic.
I'm a sugarholic, right? And that's why, like, when I'm off it, I'm completely off it. And then when I'm on it, like, I behave like an alcoholic. So I eat cakes like crazy and whatever, right? And the thing is, I know that when I like, I have those moments where it's like, I can eat Ben and Jerry's and then have like the, you know, wafer and then have like some chocolate cake with it. Like I can do it all with the Nutella and everything. I mean, I can go crazy, right?
Yeah.
But now I don't do any of it.
Yeah.
Right. And
you're choosing that.
I'm choosing it.
Yeah.
And now instead, like my favorite go-to meal, it's like literally I never get bored of this meal. I cook it almost every day. You know it. It's like I cook bison with a fried egg.
So good.
Just a little bit of Celtic sea salt, right? Now, it doesn't explode in my mouth the same way as the ice cream and the chocolate and all that does, right? But 3 tastes in and like a little heirloom tomato and like and then I start noticing other things, the textures. Like I have avocado and it's like you know, the mushiness of the avocado versus the squirtiness of the heirloom tomato versus the gaminess of the bison meat. It's suddenly like 3 minutes into my dinner, I'm having an experience. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course I do. I'm in love with that. Like that's often, I love to create moments like that for myself. Often. I do believe that, you know, it's like your mouth is so incredible in every part of your tongue and what you pick up on. And what you also, the presence that you have when you eat. That too is very important. How are you eating your meal? With whom? And are you alone? Are you with others? Are you talking? Are you not? Are you listening to music? Are you not? You know, it's such an experience every time, you know, so it's all these things play. And often I say, you know what, we created the meal. Like if I'm listening to Prince and cooking, it's like this is a Prince, you know, infused meal. Like I can't take credit. I really have tapped into the sensorial part of music to make this dish happen. And then it hits me completely differently. And I try these things in different moments with different musics, how I cook a certain dish when I play different songs.
Wow, it's like synesthesia.
Fun. Yes.
Yeah.
It's really like what my vibration is when I'm cooking and also what I'm picking up more on. That is so funny to see that my salt, how it shows up, how I'm sensitive to a salt versus a spicy flavor, or I pick up more on cumin. But that is my memory. It's like, of course, if I'm listening to Moroccan music, the cumin and the paprika is going to hit me first. But if I'm listening to a funky Prince song, I won't pick up that the same way. It's a really funny thing.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, food is fascinating. I don't get tired of it. rarely. And if I don't cook for 3 days, I promised myself that if I stayed long enough and didn't cook, I might have to shift careers. It hasn't happened. After 2 days, I need to cook. When I take a hand break, I often take breaks for my hands to rest.
Whoa.
From chopping and also my nose. I
From
relax.
rosemary.
From rosemary. That's the gardening part today. But yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to go back to something because, you know, you seem like so wise, you know, well, you are wise. And
Thank you.
yeah. And there is something I wonder about. There was an Alan Watts quote I heard in one of his speeches, actually. Actually, there's this great podcast. I'm going to plug another podcast. There's this great podcast that his son compiles. Have you heard it, by the way?
No.
It's so good. It's like it's not really a podcast because it's speeches that Alan Watts did from like a long time ago, and when he was doing like lectures at, you know, whatever institutions and whatever. And it's just a series of him talking, and it's so profound. It's really fantastic.
My God.
It's so good.
I want to hear.
Yeah, it's really good. But one of the things he talks about sometimes is like how the path of enlightenment is like a lonely path that separates you from other people. It makes it difficult to connect with people. For sure, he talks about it in like romance, like relationships. It's like very, very, very. It's like the further you get into that journey, the harder it is for you to meet someone else who's on a similar stage in their journey. You know, so so it can be very isolating. But I actually even think of it like in a bigger sense, not just in relationships like in those ways, but with like children or with just with working with people sometimes. How do you deal with people who don't look at life the same way that you look at it, and who do get like very aggro about things that, you know, you can look the other way on, or, you know what I'm saying?
I do it, and I know what you mean. I have, you know, a genuine love and affection for us, you know, for people. I also really, I know I have a short span of time, tolerance with most of the people, but I can enjoy the ones that are, let's say, a little more aligned with my lifestyle a little longer. But I feel a lot of different emotions, you know, for the people. And I'm also a bit detached from judging certain things. I don't feel like it's necessarily up to me. I observe more, and I observe with a curiosity. And sometimes I'm like, am I bored? Or am I curious? Or I have a short span. So that's where I am now. I'm in this stage of noticing how I feel around them. And sometimes I notice I've left completely and I didn't even say anything. So that takes place too sometimes. But I don't know. I think people are fascinating. And as a mom as well, going through different stages of raising children, it humbled me incredibly. And I've met a lot of people through the motherhood journey, but also through my field of work, enough to have, like tenderness. I'm a very affectionate human being, you know, no matter if you're not cool, or I don't know, going through your moments of life, or not my kind of creature, I'll still feel graceful. You know, my default is grace, to a point that can be aggravating for others to observe, and they're like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you being this way? Like he was a total jerk or something." I'm like, "Oh." Sometimes I wouldn't notice.
Okay, I'm going to put a situation to you.
Okay.
I'm going to dig on this one.
All right.
No, because like I was in a Pilates class the other day. And I love Pilates, right?
Okay.
And it's just like, it's my time. I mean, I love yoga too, but
Sure.
Recently I've been really getting into Pilates. And in my class, the teacher just suddenly went on a crazy, like, she had an experience with like someone in a parking lot who was like driving fast in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. and she was like telling the story about how awful this driver was and how he was like, such a hazard to everyone else in the parking lot, which may have well been the case, right? But the way she was telling the story, she was swearing so much.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. She was like, this fucking guy, and
Wow.
he fucking did this, and he's in, and I'm like, hey, and then I went, and she's telling the story like she's...
In Pilates class.
Yeah, she's
my.
the teacher.
Wow.
And she's telling the story as though she's some kind of hero who like stopped this bad driver, which maybe she was, and maybe he was a bad driver. But the way
Sure.
she's telling the story,
Yeah.
I found it so vulgar.
Right.
And I found it like so like disturbing my peace, you know? Mm-hmm. And then she started talking to some other people, students in the class, and like trying to get more like riled up emotions from people, you know?
Oh, wow.
And this is
She
all
was having a moment.
she was having a moment. And this was all from a guy who was like maybe driving like 20 miles an hour in a parking lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, for sure, I'm not saying that people should drive 20 miles an hour in a
No,
parking
for
lot.
sure. But yeah.
But I'm just like, is it so necessary to be like that? You know what I mean? Now, this is where the mind game comes in. Because I'm thinking to myself, what do I care? Let her talk like this. You know? Like, now me getting annoyed that my teacher is doing this in my class, like, I'm contributing to this now. Now I'm being her. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's already really wise to observe that you are thinking that way. That you thinking that you getting annoyed is contributing to her level of being annoyed as well.
Right, exactly.
Because you could laugh in a way too and be like, oh my God, like this is funny.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I guess my question to you is that when you are confronted with this, like let's say if you were me in this situation, like how would you feel?
I would have to check in with like my energetic state at that moment, like if I'm coming. And so for me, always what I've been defaulting as is this part of this chapter of me is I go, where is my lesson today? I came in, I'm so ready for this class, and I am, and I'm in my zone, and I'm good. And I am undisturbable. I am fierce committed to this class. And I'm going to think, and that this is happening. And I go, if God was speaking to me in lessons, what would he would want me to learn from this? So that would be my immediate go-to. Am I supposed to have compassion? What tool from my toolbox do I use so my experience remains as authentic to me as possible? And does she need something? Because deeply I am of service. So my default will be like, how can I be of service? This is annoying. She's having a moment, but I'll go, the lesson is, what am I going to solicit? What am I taking from my toolbox? Do I be patient and quiet and start already breathing and working in my thing and getting in, using her as music, like to my groove? Or do I use empathy and really feel her pain and be like, is there anything you need from us? What would you like us to do? How can we help this moment? So there will be all these conversations taking place. I will have to pick up on, my states, because there will be different parts of me acting differently based on who I am that day. Sometimes it's empathy that's going to show up, or humor, or I might just leave.
Wow. That's amazing. That's very cool.
You think so?
I do. I mean,
Okay.
I think to have such an involved thought about it, whereas I was just like, wow, I can't believe what I'm hearing.
I mean,
now.
yeah,
Like,
sometimes I had a moment one time, and I was at a yoga class, and that was really, I was so like ready for that class, and I was looking forward to it. But somehow the instructor was a sub, and they played the worst music to my ears. And I couldn't, like, my heart started to beat really fast. And I was in the middle of a warrior pose, and that song started playing. I just stopped and left. Done. because I know also that I have a limit, that I cannot grow a different set of patients right there. My body was not taking it. I decided to quietly leave without saying anything. And I sat down and started breathing. I had a limit. I had reached it. My patience, my everything. So that humbled me. And I was like, wow, I couldn't. I tried to bypass this. I could not. And I left without bothering anyone, because the other part of me, I mean, oh my God, the old me was a little fiery, and I'm like, fuck this, like, how could you play like this crazy cursing in the middle of the most peaceful class? That's an insult. That's not okay.
Right.
And I would complain about her. I would go and tell the management, like, who is this person? And like, seriously, it would be boiling me.
Okay, so at what point did you change from that person to this person?
I always aspired to a kinder. My true nature likes to be very kind and gentle, and leaving without. Everyone has a hard day. Everyone has a hard life. Like, this life is difficult for all of us, no matter who we are. And to me, if I could put a little, like I said, I felt like God gave me a lot of sun. If I could be that more and not really shift so quickly, so not be impulsive. I was very impulsive. Work on the things that I knew I needed to work on, to be closer to my truth, to come to a deeper alignment with my integrity and my true self. And I needed to work on those by really breathing through moments and by saying, it costs me nothing to actually remove myself with such grace. And everyone's cool. And everything's cooler. And I won't take that class anymore. And if she's teaching, I'm actually simply not going to do that.
How about when you can't walk away, like with children? This is a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. I took timeouts for myself. I could. And I also, what I did often is, my children taught me a lot. And I have to say, I give them a lot of credit, because I told them to help me help them. Because I don't have the tools. I've never been a mother of a 12-year-old before, nor have they been the kids of a mother before. So this is our first thing doing. Can you help me help you? And sometimes when I'm seeing like I'm getting aggravated, I remove myself. I think we often, if not most of the time, have an option to remove ourselves either physically, or I used to put headphones to actually tune out the level of noise.
But how about when you do that, if that actually aggravates them more and they keep coming back more?
Well, that's when I was like, help me help you. If that was creating what it is that you need from me. And often the default of a hug, like if hugs didn't work, because a hug will often, or hold hands and let's breathe, those things, I'm trying to think of moments when I defaulted to timing myself out and actually leaving. I did that, as a single parent. Often I would be like, this was too much. And I literally left the house and sat in the front of the house until I needed to recenter myself. Because I saw parts of me that I did not know. There was a level of aggressivity that showed up. There was a level of anger. This was a kid, right? But I'm like, how am I feeling this much anger? And how is this aggressive part of me showing up? And you can understand how parents could do terrible things to their children at times. Sadly so. Mm-hmm. But we're human. And who knows what wasn't resolved in my own life through my childhood that I got to see through my kids. And God knows how much we love them. And if the thought of hurting them is the worst thing in the planet, so it's like, you better work on yourself. The kids helped a lot. I worked insanely on myself. They humbled me. They bettered me.
Did you just do it yourself, like your own process, or did you have therapy, or did you go?
They were my therapists.
They were your therapists.
No, I think I tapped into my inner my inner guru, I guess. I think we all have that. Every one of us has their own inner wise. The wise person lives within us, and that too, I learned that by tapping into that one and asking God for help. Once again, we go back to asking for help because I am helpless now, because I am powerless over what just took place. I don't have that tool. Help me see it. You know, maybe it's right in front of me, and the tool often is love. You end up repeating the thing. Adults respond to that the same way a kid will respond. They become harmless. A smile or a kind word or a hug or a kiss has so much power, more than anything, I believe. And if that doesn't work, then that person's got to do things, or they need quiet, because whatever is their journey, remove yourself. You can't fix it. I couldn't fix many things.
Yeah. Wow. Did you okay, so did you read any books, or did you follow any practices or anything during this time?
I read a lot. I read all kinds of books. All kinds of books. I love autobiographies. I also loved Eckhart Tolle, and I read Khalil Gibran. I read everything, and I feel like, yes, I do aspire often to. I get messages from different things. I also feel that music and listening to music and words from wonderful artists helped a lot. I also had an incredibly wise grandmother, that wasn't alive when I had my children, but I tapped into wisdoms in the most quiet of ways that she communicated were the wisest ways she communicated with me. And I tap into her. I believe she's really part of my angels in this life. So she's guiding me quite a bit to find, the reason within the chaos.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You mentioned something, you didn't use this word, but essentially I think you were communicating the idea of prayer.
Yes.
There's a it's very sort of fashionable these days to say that prayer is not enough, that don't ask God for help, but instead visualize yourself being in the situation you want to be in.
Yeah.
And feel what it feels like to, have that thing that you want, or arrive at the place you want to arrive at, or, have a situation dealt with however you want it dealt with. And then when you can feel what that feels like, then you are actually creating your own, you're manifesting, you're creating your own thing. Okay, so that's a different concept than help me God, please, right? Do you think both are valid and there's a time and a place for each?
Absolutely. I believe that both are valid. They're both different. And I think, taking your own visualizations and tapping into the power of that feeling that you get by seeing a whole scenario move through, like being a director of your own movie. Like if you were to create that movie with different actors, it's like you're co-creating, being a co-creator of your movie, with the different parts and writing it and seeing it through. That's extremely powerful. To the hearing part of it, what music's playing and what am I smelling? And you start to feel it. I mean, ultimately, we're very receptive to this way of visualization and thinking because we start to feel. It's that quick. It's very powerful. And then the other part, which I think also is tuning in, and there is such peace in that, in the prayer, and that has a complete different channel to it. Like when you're showering or when you're swimming and you're also asking for things, because there is a sense, I think it goes in the same place where you're peaceful, you're closing your eyes, you're in a state of calm, which allows things to happen. So different, but similar somehow. One is more active and more visual and vivid. The other one is calmer and creates a different channel. It's like tuning into different channels of a radio, right?
Yeah.
I like the way you phrased it. That's kind of cool. I did not see them I didn't see that like that before. They were very different, but by speaking about it, it felt like they have similar outcomes.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think there's kind of like a little bit of a movement against prayer in a way.
Is there?
A little bit. Like,
Oh,
I mean, just in a way of saying that, you're not taking responsibility for yourself. You're just asking for help.
oh,
But
so cool to ask for help.
I think so.
I mean, how many things are we going to be responsible for? It's like we're becoming so self-sufficient that we can't even pray.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I know.
Come on. Like we can't do everything ourselves here. Like I feel like that adds a little touch of intensity. I think that's beautiful, but I think everything has a place. I believe that we're co-creating with God, at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that, 100% think that, because I feel like we've already created AI that is more powerful than us in some ways,
Yeah.
right? That is overpowering us. So our own creation is
Yeah.
overpowering us.
Sure.
So I've actually thought about this a lot, that like, we are God's creation,
Yeah.
and maybe we've overpowered God, or sometimes do.
That I'm not sure about. Because I think, yeah, I feel that God is like above seeing all of this takes place. He's given us the ability to create something bigger than us. Ultimately, the biggest power is witnessing it all,
For sure. But
I think.
For sure that. But when people often ask, like the number one argument that atheists have is like, how can God like be okay with all the insanely cruel,
Sure. Yeah.
crazy things that happen in the world, right? And I've thought about that a lot.
Of course.
And actually, my answer to that was that because actually it's out of God's control. The same way that like if an AI wants to like hack into some defense system and drop a nuke somewhere, that's out of our control.
It's out of our control. Yeah, that's an interesting way to see it. I feel that nature is violent. I truly believe nature is violent. The act of, so many acts, even the simple act of us eating is super violent. There is killing involved. There is ripping, there is cutting, there's knives, there's chewing, there's blood. There's violence in the act of love as well, in the way, almost a baby arrives, like there's ripping and tears. I feel that who told us that this life does not involve this thing, like the words we label as cruel, the things that feel to us as cruel, that we labeled as such. Who told us that wasn't part of life? Who told us that life doesn't involve that? That this battle, that humans fighting over territories, like this silly stuff, right? They're fighting over the silliest things. Like animals are in the jungle and just invading other people's, like other animals' territories, like cells eating each other. Like there is violence taking place in the most banal of ways at all times. Whether are we okay with it, but this is the way this is regulated. It's almost like, let's put this here, let's see how they be. It's like we're viruses, a bunch of us fighting over some kind of food, which is like in different formats, and we're meant to feel these things, this feeling of like this is not okay, feeling that there's nothing is okay. There's so many things that are not okay, but we are judging that it's not okay based on our system. Back in the time, certain things were okay. Killing's fine, right? Like back in so many different, killing is fine. Taking someone that's about to invade your home or hurt your wife or things like these things are completely fine. I just feel like the meaning we have to things, we've become definitely, there is insane amounts of atrocities, but atrocities are also fine. If that makes any sense, that's part of life. Life is not heaven. We were created, I believe, as humans on planet Earth, very imperfect, unfinished. messy. We're very, very messy. Our thoughts can be messy. We can self-sabotage ourselves. I mean, think about it. Self-sabotage? Why wouldn't you sabotage someone else if you are self-sabotaging? Already that's taken place. So it's a mess. This process of being alive is an ultimate experience in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
You know? That's how I feel.
Yeah. And what do you do with that? You just accept it?
Acceptance is not complacency or resilience or numbness, but acceptance leads you to a place, because otherwise your life, your experience becomes really hectic. So accepting that things are not okay, accepting that people are lying, stealing, cheating, killing, it is happening, it is out of our control. But what am I doing myself to create a good ripple? How can I impact the circle I'm impacting in a good way? I can maybe do something about that. Do I feel sadness that there is chaos and things are unfinished and people are hurting each other? Yes, I feel sad about that. And you know what? I accept that I am sad. And sometimes I accept, often, that I am powerless. I'm powerless over those things. And to a certain degree, we are aware too fast, too much of everything that's taken place nowadays. We've created ways to be aware of everything that's taken place in the same time as us. And is our brain meant to do that? Yes, we created that. But the challenge is higher to find inner peace, because we're constantly submerged with information that are not so pleasant to our character, at least the creatures of light, because there is the other ones who are completely fine with creating such terrible things, but for them those are fine. No one can argue that with them. They're convinced that that's a great way to live.
So I'm curious. Okay, yeah, no, I get it. I'm curious, what's your point of view on psychological trauma?
Like, my point of view about it, tell me more about that. Like, is it exist or it does not exist? Or is it, what do you mean?
Well, yeah, because you said that life just has so much violence in it. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the way, we decided not to accept it. We decided to call it bad. And that now we are suffering because we've identified something as bad. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So trauma is kind of like a similar thing. It's like trauma is traumatic.
Sure.
When you compare it to it not being there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you viewed a situation that, like, I think, like, the definition of or why you experience something as traumatic is also relative to culture in some way.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Well said, yeah.
And like, if culture is telling you that you having experienced something should be painful and difficult, you're going to feel it as painful and difficult.
Right.
If culture said that this is totally fine, you're not going to think, like, for example, right? Like when you're 12 years old at school and you have to go and get a jab, that BCG shot or whatever,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that could be traumatic for some people.
Absolutely.
I mean, but the fact that, 100 kids are lined up and they're all doing it and it's just a rite of passage and it's normal, removes the trauma out of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe for one or two kids it was traumatic, but it's like, you see what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So that's kind of, what do you think about that?
I feel as well that trauma shapes us. Like, I think we become different kinds of traumas shape our personalities. I don't know anyone that doesn't have trauma, and the ones that like grew up with almost like nothing, there's always something. The word trauma, I think once we become adults and we can assign what is traumatic, like what is still dictating our behavior, what trauma is shaping us now in the way we behavior. Once we can pinpoint it and assign it and find a way to make peace with it, therefore heal, then we overcome that. But yeah, trauma is real, and trauma is also part of our substance. Like there's texture in that. It's unfortunate. It's fortunate for some. You create with trauma. Some people use that and channel it in different ways to create something incredible, to touch people's lives. But trauma is.
It is. What my question is really like, is it an absolute or is it a relative? That's kind of what I was asking.
I don't know. I actually don't know. Is it an absolute or is it a relative? I almost want to say it's relative. I'm veering towards it's relative.
That's what I was feeling from what you said earlier.
Yeah, it's feeling like it's relative because culturally, and also nowadays where people are, there's so much sensitivity. Everyone's so sensitive to everything. You're traumatized with that. When you compare yourself, what you grew up with, what you saw and witnessed, and you felt like that's okay. Like I'm okay with that. But now those things are traumatic, so you have to really adapt and have compassion towards that simply because, you can't relate to it always. You can't relate to all traumas, but yet you don't need to relate to things to feel empathy for them. I think the less you know, the more empathy you should have.
I agree.
Because you don't know, and you don't need to know, and you don't know a lot. So more compassion and more empathy. That feels to me like it's a way to move through, with a way that feels like that's love. To me, that's the way we love. If love is the way, and I believe love is, that is love. That is one way to love, to be love.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it is interesting because what you said also about sensitivity right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's one, I think about this philosophically, there's one aspect of sensitivity and being empathetic towards people.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's another angle where the sensitivity is basically turns into a source of conflict, you know, and a lot of people hating other people is born out of that sensitivity, you know. Whereas if someone was able to just be okay with someone else being the way that they are, there's no fight. It's okay, it's like what you're saying. If it's not for you, you just walk away, you know?
Right.
But it's there's so much conflict in the world, and all the places where there is conflict, the conflict is happening amongst people who are the most similar to each other.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just wild to me, because it's you guys are basically cousins, and, you know, you are much more different to a lot of other people in the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people in the world wish a lot worse for both of you people. Right?
Yeah.
And somehow you've decided to get into a fight with each other over your sensitivities.
Correct. I mean, just look at a household, siblings. It starts there. That too. Humans, we are, there is conflict. You'll have a household with same parents and you have siblings fighting over anything. What does that tell you already? You know, don't fight. Parents trying to solve the issue and they can't. And what that creates, I think truly the conflict, these things are also, yes, they're the opposite of peace, right? Mm-hmm. Because that just creates, I remember at some point in my life, I was I just want peace. And my kids were not having it. It was just a tremendous phase of fight, a lot of fighting for everything, food, music, anything. And I was trying to find solutions. And then I realized to abandon. You should abandon. Let them figure it out. Like, keep them safe and let them figure it out. Is that going to be mean? Don't judge it. If it's mean, name calling, everything takes place. And these are kids that are like, kids are mean. But they're not, but they are. It's mind-boggling. So that also helped me see people, the world, like just from my own little household of 3 people. So much in this little planet that's called this household is taking place on a regular basis. Of course, the rest of the world is, what can I imagine? You know, and if things are not resolved, the adults that creates, that are still acting like their 8-year-old selves. You'll have adults tantruming like an 8-year-old. So what do you do with that? Try to speak reason? Or walk away? Mm-hmm. They got to find that reason their own. Walking away is sometimes the best way to do it. You can't change people. Conflict will take place. Sometimes it's just, that's the way. Is it upsetting? Yes. Is it sad? Yes. But that is part of life too.
That's interesting. You see my cat over there, that little guy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, he passed like 6 years ago. But I'm bringing him up because I used to observe my 2 cats.
Yeah.
And a lot. And that one was the older one. And he used to really look after the little one. Mm-hmm. He always made sure the other one ate before he did.
Oh.
Yeah, he always made sure the other one was safe. He always made sure, like, if there were, like, other animals in the yard, like raccoons or whatever, like, he would just get in front, scare them away. He would always make sure that the little one was taken care of.
That's so sweet.
It's so sweet.
I know.
It's so sweet, but it was like a really interesting thing for me to observe because it made me question. See, all the stuff you were saying about violence is there. I'm not saying violence isn't there.
Right.
But it made me question the need for it because I was like, okay, I'm looking at 2 cats that most people, think of as like animals less evolved than humans, whatever, right? I mean, I actually don't agree with that, but I
don't either.
That's what most people think, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, this animal has a very clear directive in his own mind to look after the other one selflessly ahead of his own needs.
Yeah.
So that tells me that there is actually, it's not all violence and like me. There is something in us as well, I'm sure.
Of course.
That is like, has this ability to say, right, someone else matters more than me. I'm going to look after them before I look after myself.
I mean, yes. And that's what takes place also for us when we become parents. Or we see it in, some siblings are extremely protectors of their others. Like it's a predisposition as well. Some people are predisposed to have that. Some are more the takers, some are the givers. Mm-hmm. Some find comfort in being protected. And also when we become parents, what we end up finding out, this love bigger than us, like, and what instincts of us start to show more even, that we find out. And that's something really beautiful about, parenthood, that make you know yourself more and get to see where, yes, are you a caregiver by nature, or are you frustrated to be of service nonstop? Like I've been of service for 21 years to my children, and I made dinner before I came here tonight because I love doing that for them. I love feeding my kids. It's my nature. It's not a chore. It's not a duty. It is my nature, is to be of service. And I was that kid making food at home. I was happy to be that way. I wasn't told. I actually did not like when people told me to do things because I already had planned to do so. I think people are different, our natures. And so staying in your true nature, no matter what your trauma is, that is also really powerful. You know, because being in different experiences in life could make you bitter or grudgeful to the way you are. Like if you're devoted, because you are a devoted kind of person and you've been taken advantage of, what do you do with that? Do you still stay true to your nature or shift? You know, I find it truly beautiful to remain true to yourself, but just know how and where and what's your limit ultimately. When is no, because you can't always be that way.
Yeah.
There's moments when you're done. I need to receive now, and it's good to ask for it, you know?
Yeah. Are you self-aware to know when you need to step from one to the other?
Oh yeah.
In the moment?
My body tells me right away.
Yeah?
Oh
That's
yeah.
incredible.
It's you know, I think that too, you know, teaching the kids that their bodies speak before they need to do that, what starts to take place, you know, like through tightening or literally feeling like you've done enough. Like if I do one more thing now of service, I am not going to be as joyful. I am like nearing depletion, like knowing that the energy, no matter how much you love what you do, that there is a point that you need this breath, an exhale and an inhale. You've exhaled way too much.
So there's a point where you will tell your kids, okay,
Oh,
kids,
God, yeah.
like I'm done now.
Yes, I know how I like to cook for them too. Like when my energy is flowing, like if they are asking for dinner and they haven't communicated, if it's like 8 p.m. and my son was, you know, just decided that he's hungry, that meal is going to be done in a different way. Yes, I have to really push and expand myself to not be like, I'm done. Like I've cooked for 12 hours today. Making another meal doesn't feel good no matter how much I love you. It happens. And that is something where you say, I'm human. You know, I'm not a saint. Oh no, I'm not. But I will do things truly. I said, let's be kind and let's be honest. When you don't want to do something, I'd rather you be kind and honest than do it and be pissed that you did it.
True.
I taught them that too. I say, tell me you don't want to do it.
How much do you think parenting involves being a guide for your children? And how much just letting them figure it out themselves?
Oh man, I think there is a good amount. I mean, I think up to a certain age, you're really guiding, you know? And I think some kids need guidance more than others. But I think if you guide it well, they'll become independent so much faster. You know, they'll actually see the sense of it all. And they'll start taking care of so many things without you being a guide, because that makes sense to them. If you've imposed through fear, if you guided through intimidation or fear, then that becomes a different story, you know? So I think it's so lovely to observe them through the different stages of life and see how much they, you know, what they've taken from that guidance and how they applied and what they were just themselves. It's both. It's like a ballet dancer, you know, being taught ballet, but her body is a certain way. How much are you gonna like not respect that body type? There is some things, some are predisposed in a certain way and others are different, just different. I think kids are like that too.
Yeah.
Understanding who that kid is, you know, and that is a beautiful thing. That's also so beautiful to assess who your kid is and what is he capable of and what is just too much.
Yeah, it's been an amazing joy for me to see my daughter become good at things that I'm awful at.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very gratifying.
It really is. It's completely mind-blowing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, that's what we want, is for our kids to be better than us. to do things better than us. And, finding yourself being amazed at their skill sets.
Yeah.
Somehow that feels incredibly gratifying.
It really is. And it just like, it's, for me, it is gratifying, but more than gratifying, I'm just blown away.
Yeah.
Like I don't even get to the point where I feel the gratification till much, much later, because I'm just in such wonderment. Like, how the hell are you able to do that? That is just wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
It's great.
You've done a great job.
I didn't do it. She did it herself.
Well, I mean, it's whatever you modeled, and then the life you created that allowed that too. Even more, I mean, take the same kid and put them in different environments.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. How much do you think is in our nature like predestined versus...
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Like the destiny? Like what is predestined versus...
Yeah, what is predestined and what is like... How much control do you have in your life, really?
I thought about that not too long ago. I don't know, what was I reading? But it was about destiny. In Arabic, it's called maktub. So it's written. So like basically everything is written. This is something we grew up with in our family. It's like you have no control. The only thing that you're not allowed to do is take your own life. That is not maktub. But I always argued that. I was like, well, no, if God knows everything, then he knows we're going to take our own lives. Like when I was a kid, that fascinated me. It's like, or jumping out of the window, I would argue with my grandmother. I was like, what do you do with that? Like God didn't want that. He wanted that. If I did it, that means, and she will give up. And she's like, see, when I don't have an answer, that means we reached God level. Oh my God, Reza, that is, I'm in the process. I must say you've tapped into a question that I'm feeling very interested about, because I thought about it again. And the choices we make versus what's written, and what, if we do nothing, is that just whatever is meant for you is going to happen? I was having a moment with myself when I thought that it's like taking different roads to get somewhere. Like we're going there, but we're going to take this way, which involves doing a lot of things, thinking we have some control, making decisions and all, and doing the other way, because there are some people, and a friend of mine I was hanging out with last time, he's like, I'm doing nothing these days and everything's coming. I'm like, well, you're 60 and you've worked so hard that you're reaping the fruits of your labor at this point. Like if you seem like you're not trying, but everything is working for you. That means you've done beautiful like labor in your soil. And so, or is that destiny? I don't know, Reza. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think about it a lot because, recently, by recently, I don't mean like the last few months. I mean, maybe like 4 or 5 years. I've become very interested in astrology.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I found that so many things that are in my chart have turned out to be pinpoint accurate true.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, and they're not simple things. They're complex things, Like, me, I'm not a basic guy.
Not at all.
Right? And yet everything about me is in my birth chart.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Astrology is fierce.
It's fierce. And then that tells me two things. One, it tells me astrology is fierce. But two, it tells me, well, if everything was already apparent from before I was even born, or from the day I was born, then what have I had to do with it other than just sort of like get out of its way, or like just, let it happen to me,
Yeah, let it happen. Let life happen to you. Well, yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, like, And then I wonder, like, how much of it, you interact with, how much, like, maybe some of it is like a script and some of it is like improvisation. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a part of us, I think, our purpose, like when we do things and when we're acting in that has to be our destiny. We're destined to be in that motion, we're destined to be, we're not destined to just let life happen to us,
Right.
Some people are that way, they're we call them in Morocco les parasites sociaux, the social parasites. They're like, life is great, being taken care of, everything's awesome, or they're not doing anything with their lives. I think being of service to your destiny, it's almost like taking a sailboat and being like, it's terrible weather, I'm gonna go here and I want to take this path. That's not going to work out. Like, you're going to either sink your boat but it's like, yes, you have all the tools, and yes, but what are you not taking in consideration here? And I feel like life is a little bit like that too. It's like, am I going against it or am I going with it? And going with it doesn't mean it's effortless. It means it requires skill sets to adjust and fine-tune in order for you to optimize your trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to do the potential of you. It's like, I love a lot of sailing metaphors with life. I've gone into sailing 4 years ago, and I've been so passionate about learning, and that taught me a lot too. And I feel like I'm a little tad wiser because of sailing, because it also is humbling. But it's like, do you want to just get there, or do you want to know your boat, which is our vessel and our mind, and give it the best potential, live at your highest potential, which means you're going to get there better, faster, your boat is impeccable, and you're going to feel great. Or you just want to get there, because there's two different ways to get there.
Or maybe you don't care about getting there and you just like moment by moment.
Correct. You just want to go for a sail with no destination.
Right, exactly.
That's often the case. It's like, let's go sail and let's see, we'll move with the wind. Whatever the wind does, we're going to tune into it. I don't care where I end up. That's also an option, sure. But it's like, like people, when life is happening for you and you're like, oh, I just met this great person and they asked me to do this. Great. That feels good. I'll do it. Or you're like, no, I'm trying to get there. I don't want to do this. It's interesting.
That is interesting, actually. A question that's come up for me a few times in my life is like the philosophy of say yes to everything versus the philosophy of you have to say no to some things to create the opportunities you want.
Right.
Have you thought about that?
A lot.
What do you think?
I mean, I lived both.
Yeah.
I had moments when it was a yes, I was a yes woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that feels great. The yeses were more than the nos, let's just say. There was like the opportunities, and then came a moment when there was more nos, because there was the yeses. I didn't have really room for the yeses. I just calibrated based on where I was in my space at that time. But it was fun to do both. And it's like no's require more courage, often, and more honesty in saying a no, especially when it's not deeply explained. So that is a skill set, and that's something nice to understand and tweak and have grace in a simple, less amount of words. No. You can add a thank you, or you're good. Done. And that creates an interesting thing for us humans.
Yeah, I've noticed, like, for me, there are times when I feel something in my body and then it's a no.
Sure.
And it feels really good to say no.
It does.
In that moment.
Yeah. You strengthen something.
Yeah.
And if you say yes to the no, it weakens. That character trait that is working for you weakens.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, yeah, those moments are amazing. I think the more we get sharp with them and the more we listen and honor that is so beautiful. You become a fine-tuned instrument.
For sure.
It's good. I love that state.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. This is a good place to wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to share with the world?
With the world. It's been said right here, right now. Not sure what's coming next, but excited. It was great talking to you.
So great. Thank you. That was like beautiful. It's like really, it's amazing also, by the way, in this context, because we know each other, but yet still we had a new conversation we've never had before.
That's right.
Isn't that cool?
Of course. We can have a new one for a lifetime, I feel.
For sure. Amazing.
Thank you for having me, Reza.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you. You're the best.
All we want